Now let's come to the 9 compound finals, 9个复韵母。复韵母 literally means compound finals, but then you will have to distinguish this one with the diphthongs in English. Diphthongs in Chinese is 双元音. It refers to those vowels in English that is bigger, that moves from one vowel to another, like this vowel, ow, and this vowel, o, and this one, I, and this one, oi. These are all diphthongs in English. But then the 复韵母 in Chinese, although they are called compound finals, I don't think they are diphthongs. And this is very important, especially for people whose mother tongue is English. Just look at them. Now this first one is I, represented by the letters A and I. If it's an English phonetic symbol, you would read it as I, as in I am Chinese, I. I is a diphthong. But in Mandarin, if you see this pinyin symbol, do not read it as I because it's not. It's I. Actually, it doesn't move from one vowel to another. It's just one simple vowel. It is I. If you read it as I, it would be too wide, too big. I. Now this character, I, which means love, its pinyin is written like this. This yunmu with the fourth tone symbol. It is I. Don't read it as I. That sounds very English. It's just I, not I. That's what I mean by do not consider these compound finals, these 复韵母, as diphthongs in English. They are mostly not diphthongs. Like if you spell it with the consonant b, it is bai, bai. Bai, bai. This character, bai, which means to break apart. Bai kai, you would say bai. Don't read it like by. It's not by. It's just by. So this is I. Now the next one is A. Similarly, it sounds like the sound of the letter A in English. But then it is not A, as in age, gate. It's not that wide. It's just A, like this character. Also with the 声母 背着, it means to carry on the back. 我背着你. You read it as 背, not 背. If you say 背, that sounds too English. It's actually not a diphthong. It's just a simple vowel. 背, a. Now the next one is we, represented by the letters ui. We. If you combine it with the 声母, like the 声母 represented by d, which is the, then it's 的 we, 对. This character, 对, we have met before. It means correct or yes, 对. You just say it as 对, not 对. You know, it's if you say it like 对, people know you speak English as mother tongue. It is 对, fast and crisp, 对. So it's not a diphthong. The next one is all, represented by letters A, O. In English, it will be ow, not ow. They don't have this as a phonetic symbol in English, but in Mandarin, it is o. It is not ow or some bigger vowel. It's just the simple o. O. Like this character, we saw this one before. It is 跑, which means to run. It's of the third tone. 跑. This vowel actually is bigger. If it's in the third tone, it's always bigger than the other tones, because the third tone is falling and rising. The third tone is always bigger, so it is 跑. But still, it is just 跑. It's not 跑or some bigger diphthongs. And this character is 包. It means purse. The 声母is 包. It is 包. You don't read it as 包. It is 包. The next 韵母 is O, represented by a combination of letters O and U. O. Again, short and crisp. O. Like this character 后. We learned this one in the word 时候, which means when. 和 o 后 the 声母 is represented by the letter h, which is 和 o 后. If you do the other tones, they would be ho, 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 ho. Don't pronounce it as ow, as in goat. We also have this character 都. The 声母 is 的 o 都, which means all. Avoid pronouncing it as dao. It is 都. The next one is pronounced you. It is represented by a combination of letters I and U. You, 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 you. Like this one is a common family name in China, that is Liu. The 声母 is le, represented by letter L. Le you, Liu. Le you, Liu. Liu, 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 Liu. English doesn't have this sound. I cannot think of any. Yeah. The next one is ye. Ye. It's written like this, an I and an E. We actually learned a character with this one. You remember this character? It is 借, which means to lend or to borrow. Its pinyin is written like this. The 声母 is 鸡, represented by the letter J. 鸡, 几页, 借. That's how it's spelled. 几页, 借. The 声母 is 鸡, the 韵母 is 叶, the fourth tone. 几页, 借. 接, 结, 解, 借. So this is the 韵母, 耶. The next one is written like this. This symbol with the two dots and an E. It is pronounced 约, 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 约. Yes, we also learned a character with this one. You remember this character? It is 学, which means to study or to learn. Its pinyin is written like this. Now the 声母 takes the form of the letter X, but then it's pronounced 西. This one is very hard for people whose mother tongue is English because this sound 西 doesn't exist in English. The 声母 is 西, the 韵母 is 约. It's spelled 西约学, 西约学, as in 学习. So 学, 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 学. Now this is the 韵母 约. This last one is R, represented by a combination of letters E and R. If you see this, you know it's the 韵母 R. You almost always pronounce this with the R sound, that is the R sound. Some southern Chinese or people from Hong Kong and Taiwan, they might say 儿子. This is the word for son, as in father and son. In Mandarin, we would always say 儿子. Nobody would say 儿子 or 孩子. It doesn't work that way. But you might hear some people from South China say 儿子. Just when you see this pinyin symbol, ER, it is R. And we saw this character, R, in the phrase 一会儿 and 一点儿. 我会说一点汉语. I can speak a little Chinese. 一点儿. Do not read it as 一点儿. You read it as 一点儿. Anyways, I will make a separate video on the R sound in Mandarin. Now these are the 9 compound finals or 复韵母 in Chinese. I, A, V, O, U, ye, yue, R. But as I mentioned before, although they are called 复韵母, compound finals, most of them are very short, crisp vowels. Don't pronounce them like diphthongs in English.